Hi, thank you so much for joining my session on Build It and They Will Come. I'm here to talk to you about basically starting your own consulting business and kind of what it means to build a consulting business in today's ecosystem. And how I thought I would do that is to share with you a little bit about the company that I built, K20 Connect. So I'm going to walk you through our kind of company deck. And along the way, I'm going to share with you just kind of pearls and nuggets that hopefully you'll find helpful as you're on the way to build your own consulting process or business. So our history began in 2018, and it happened when I had left a school district. I was an assistant superintendent, and before that, I was like the takeover superintendent, if you will, um, of a school district. And I left that district to take a position to lead a national kind of media and research center. And that center decided in 2018, sorry, that it would close. And so at that closure, I was left with a couple of kind of decisions to make. One, I was also in the process of trying to have a baby. And so I didn't want to have to forego that to restart a new job and all of that. So it made sense to me to start my own company. So that was one decision. And the second decision was whether I would start just by myself alone or if I would start by trying to join somebody else's consulting company or if I would start with a friend. And so what it ended up happening is I started a company, K20 Connect, and my friend Susan Gentz started her company, BSG Strategies. But we did a lot of work together because she was the assistant director and I was the executive director of the organization that we ran or the company that we ran. And so we were used to working together and we did a lot of work together. And we just naturally continue to work together. So even though we had two different companies, we ended up doing a ton of stuff together. And what that has led to is really joining under the umbrella of one brand, which is K20 Connect. And we selected K20 Connect basically because it has in part a bigger name recognition in the space in the education market. BSG Strategies, her primary work had been within her company policy, and K20 Connect does all things plus policy, and so it also had kind of the bigger umbrella of options that we could offer, and so it made sense to choose K20 Connect. Now, we initially had to just kind of create some beliefs, some kind of common standards, if you're common ground that we could work from. And that was, I guess, fostered in what we believe the relevance is to have industry and education support one another. Having been in education for 30 years, I know you really can't do a good job in education if you don't have good industry partners. You're highly dependent on industry partners to have the success that you need in teaching children and in supporting your teachers and your staff. So we wanted to focus on that kind of connection, making sure industry had what it needed to be the best that it could be to support schools and universities, and also helping schools and universities know how to choose industry partners. So bridging that gap is what we believe will empower students and provide them real world knowledge and help them develop the skills that they need so they can be competitive. And we're committed to facilitating those partnerships and hopefully creating opportunities for students to have a brighter future. And what makes us unique is that we're women owned. The other thing that, the other decision, I guess, that we needed to make was what gives us a competitive edge. And one thing that I was finding is I wasn't the only person that was not able to remain employed because companies were closing, and I was seeing a lot of women in the space kind of being displaced, if you will, and men were able to find positions, it seemed, faster than the women were. And so that could have been an illusion, but that's what I saw. And so I made the commitment with Susan that we would focus on female consultants and supporting female consultants in our group. And with that, we became a certified women owned concierge consulting firm. So we made sure that we did all the things that we needed to do to be qualified at the federal level, which transcends to all states, with the certified women owned business. And we also want to kind of cater, if you will, to female consultants and help them find their sea legs in the consulting space and help them learn how to get into the consulting space. So now we've been around for 6 years, and we have a lot of experience among us. And we also have a lot of consultants. We bring consultants in as 1099s on projects, but we also have a rev share model where consultants can bring work to us, that I'll talk to you about in a little bit. And then we focus on like social channels, and we have a newsletter, and we do webinars, and we do all kinds of things to market K20 Connect that will bring business to everyone that's in the K20 Connect network or group. So we are made up of 4 female leaders. I'm the founder, and then Pam Lloyd is the associate partner. She's the chief strategy officer. Susan Gentz is my original partner, if you will, and she's the chief operating officer. And then Paget Hetherington is an associate partner, and she's the chief marketing officer. So all of us together basically run the company. We have a very shared leadership vision, and everybody kind of manages their lane, and we work really well together. And I think it's that kind of energy that helps us do the things that we do in our space and help our senior consultants. So these are just some of our senior consultants that we have. And then we also have who we call network consultants. Senior consultants have been in the consulting space and are primarily full-time consultants. They have their own consulting companies, but they're kind of individual. And so working under the collective of K20 allows them to have more strength when they go after proposals, or it also helps them be able to scale projects faster because there's more of us that are able to work together. And especially when we add in the layer of network consultants. And our network consultants are currently working. They're principals, they could be coaches, they could be industry leaders, they could be superintendents, chief academic and chief information officer. But it's another way to help kind of introduce people to consulting before they are committed to the full-time consulting role. So the senior consultants are full-time consultants. They've committed to that role, but they're alone in their own business. And K20 Connect, what we try to do is provide a family and a connection for everybody so that we can go after work together, complete projects together, and benefit, quite frankly, from the collective rather than feeling like you're alone on an island. When you go into consulting, it can be a very lonely space, especially if you're used to being in a school district or a university or a company. You're used to being around a lot of people. even if you've worked remotely, you're still used to connecting with a lot of people. And that kind of all goes away when you start consulting. It's you, myself, and I. So, me, myself, and I. So, what we've tried to do with K20 is create kind of a family, a home, a connection, a network. And we all want to help and benefit each other in that work. Now, the other thing that we discovered with going into consulting is it's like you're you're selling yourself, you're marketing yourself, and you're delivering projects. So you've got three hats that you're wearing at any given time. And that's not easy to do. Especially, you can sell yourself, you can have a number of contracts, you're delivering on those contracts. And while you're delivering on those contracts, you're kind of losing ground on selling yourself. And then those contracts will term out, and then there will feel like a lull because you don't have any space to work with. So what we have done is we have added collaborators. And collaborators are companies that we partner with to do our work. And we partner with them through a revenue sharing agreement or a resource sharing agreement. And these are a few of the companies that we are currently partnered with. And we partner with them in a wide variety of ways, but all of them promote and sell our products and our services, which is very helpful and very beneficial. And like I said, really, we want to build a community, and we do that through a lot of different ways. We do it through social media. We really lean into LinkedIn. We believe that that's kind of the professionals networking space. So we have a LinkedIn Chiefs group that we facilitate that has more than 60 members. And these are all going to be senior level people in K-12 and higher education. And then we have a newsletter that goes out every week that has 30,000 subscribers. And these are primarily in school districts across the states. And then we also collaborate with Google to support an online community of senior leaders. And this is a global community. So they're in districts, state departments, or ministries of education around the world. So those are the ways that we kind of nurture the education community. And we have blogs that we provide. We do webinars on a regular basis. And we also are going to be starting to do kind of live streaming. So check back with me and let me know. I'll let you know how that pans out. But you have to promote yourself. You have to market yourself. You have to sell yourself. And then you have to deliver yourself as a product when you're a consultant. And you have to be creative. When you're using social media to build your community, you can put your post out with regularity through scheduled posts, and that makes it very easy to kind of keep the marketing up and keep your brand visibility. So one thing you have to decide as a consultant is, what do you do? What are you going to sell? Are you going to sell yourself? Are you going to sell a service? Are you going to sell a product? Are you going to sell a group of people? And what are you going to sell? And so it took us a while to kind of figure out, because for a long time we were just selling our hours. And that's finite, right? And then if you want to take a vacation, then you're not making money. So you have to think about other ways that you can have revenue without necessarily putting man hours, so to speak, every day into it. And so we have come up with some tools that we sell and some services that we sell and some products that we sell. So one thing that we sell is research. We conduct research, we create reports, we create playbooks, we create a lot of material, and then those material are for sale. They're for sale to clients, like companies, or they're for sale to school districts or universities. We also do legislative tracking and policy support. So if you want to know what kind of bills are passing across education across the country, then that's obviously Susan has that amazing gift. She does that tracking. And then she also looks at kind of what policy, how federal policies and state policies are affecting what schools and universities are able to do. We have marketing and branding resources that we offer and supports that we offer. We offer sales enablement. We do business development. We can do strategic planning. We have executive coaching that we do, and we have courses that people can enroll in. So if they don't want to coach, but they want to learn a few techniques, then we have courses that they can enroll in and take. And then we do school improvement and program design. So if you are a school, a district, a university, and you need support for accreditation or for just general continuous improvement, or you want to implement a program, or you want to know if a program's doing well, then we can do that too. We can do part of our research can be to run a study on something that you've implemented to see if you have fidelity in that implementation or if you need some support with it. All of these products are really helpful for our clients to hear about because it allows them to see the breadth of what we do and also the depth of what we do. And we have samples of everything that we do so that if a client needs to have a portfolio, to see a portfolio of our work, we have that. And that is something that I would recommend you do too as a consultant, is to think about kind of what kinds of products you've produced for clients and make those available as samples. You can, remand them and take information out, but just let people see what the quality of work is that you offer. Then you have to think, okay, that's what we do. These are things that we can offer as consultants, but how do we do it? And that's also something you have to take into consideration, because if it's hours and time, there's a limited number of those. And again, if you're not working, you're not getting paid. If you're not putting an hour in, then you're not getting paid. And thinking about how you can have, let's just call it renewable income, where you can put something out and that can get downloaded multiple times. That's really something you need to think about putting in addition to the hour model, because you want to be able to take a vacation. You want to be able to be off on weekends. You want to be able to have some time to yourself. So how we do this is we have concierge services, and those are typically retainers, and we can range in price per month. But we offer 3, 6, or 12-month retainers, and those could range from 3 to 15,000, depending on the services. We do state playbooks, and these state playbooks are a breakdown of what's going on in every single state around education. And then we have different pricing for those. We do briefings. We do workshops. We convene events. We write reports. We do proposals. So all of those are ways that we do our work. I know I ran through those pretty fast because I think they're kind of general information. But I think when you're putting your consulting business together, thinking about what you do and how you do it are the two key things that you've got to kind of put first and foremost. And I'll spend the last 10 minutes just kind of talking about the things that you need to consider when you're really kind of getting your brand together. At the end of the day, when you go into consulting, all you have to sell yourself is your reputation. Consulting probably is one of the more vulnerable things that you can do as a professional, because your value is based on who people perceive you to be. And one thing that I have learned in the space is who you partner with, who you com- kind of um, show up with. Um, that's People can define you by them or by that partnership. So you want to be sure that you're choosing partners and people that you surround yourself with. You want to make sure that those people are going to have your best interests at heart, who are going to promote you as much as you might promote them. There's enough work in the space, and we all have different talents. So even though there is competition, there's probably a way that we can go about it where we're lifting one another up. And I would just advise you to try to be in the room with the people who are going to try to lift you up and the people that you would want to lift up. There's groups that you can be part of, like dolls, if you're a female, that cater to this, that cater to supporting us as not just consultants, but as women in business. And we can lean in and email any one of them and ask questions. What about this? What about that? And get a quick answer. So think about kind of who's in your circle and look around that circle and decide, is everybody in this circle someone I really want in this circle? Because some people can choose to be in your circle and they may not be a benefit to you at all. And you just want to kind of assess that and make sure that you're surrounded by the right people and that those people are genuine, kind, good people lifting you up. The other thing that I think is important to note as you kind of go into consulting is on the financial side. So it's going to take you a minute to make money. And even though you deliver on a product, you still have to invoice, receive the funds. I mean, there's a lot there. So before you jump straight into consulting, look at your personal finances and think about what you can afford to do and think about how much of a runway you might need before you go all in. You may need to pick up a part-time job. You may need to do like our network consultants and continue in your full-time job while you're kind of building your consulting company. And then you can have that opportunity to launch, but you've got a runway. You've got, your bills are going to get paid. There's always a delay. Most people pay net 30, 60, sometimes 90. So there's always going to be a delay in payment. Nobody's going to pay you, or very, very few people will. You send the invoice today and they'll send you a check tomorrow. Very, very few people will do that. So when you're setting up your company and you're preparing to go into the field of consulting, just make sure that you've got the runway financially to do it. It sounds awesome to work for yourself, to manage your own time, to manage your own schedule, but you've also got to manage your own life and your own finances. And consulting in many ways is feast or famine. So make sure you've got that backup finance to be able to do the work and not be stressed out by it. It can be stressful when you're waiting on somebody to pay you. It can be stressful when you're waiting on jobs to come in, when you've put bids out or you've sent statements of work out to try to get the work and people just aren't committing. That can be stressful. And then you get all this work and you've got, like 7, 10 clients and you're having to deliver it as a singleton. That's stressful too, because there's only so much of you to go along. And they all came in and you're like, I can't say no to any of this. So it's a balance. It's a balance. And managing that balance is something that you really need to think about and consider before you jump in, before you get into the fire, so to speak. Another thing that I would advise you to consider when you're going into consulting is kind of what kinds of protections do you need? You probably need to talk to a CPA. You definitely need to talk to an attorney. You need to see what the requirements are in your state. Just setting up an LLC kind of doesn't do it. You've got to see what your state secretary, says about, setting up a company and paying the taxes and all the things, getting all your numbers and all of that. You want to make sure that you've thought about insurance and the protection that you'll need. You want to make sure that you're protecting your personal financial interests so that if something happens in the company, it doesn't affect your house mortgage, for example. So take the time to consider what kinds of protections you're going to need in play before you launch. Think about and do your research, do your homework. Make sure that you've talked to an attorney and you know what you can and can't do in your state. Every single state is different. So make sure you know what you can and can't do in your state. Make sure you know what kind of insurance you need. Do you need liability? Do you need workman's comp? What does your state require? What does your state let you skip on? And then find a good company to do that. Not every company wants to give you insurance. So find a good company to do that. And then think about the tools that you need, and how much those tools are going to cost. Before you launch, you probably should do a business plan and a budget so that you know what you're going to, what your direction is and how much it's going to take to keep you on that pathway. You definitely don't want to launch and then find yourself in a financial conundrum. You don't want to have to backpedal because at the end of the day, it's your personal brand that you're putting at risk when you have to do that. So the more advanced preparation that you can do to get kind of all your ducks in a row, to make sure that you've got all the protection that you need, that you've got all the paperwork taken care of that you need, and that you've got all the financial information and supports that you need. Those are the things that you've got to do before you ever put up your sign that says you're in business. Make sure you've protected yourself and your family before you launch. That is so important. And then after you make sure you protect yourself and your family, think about your general brand and what you want that brand to be, and how that brand can stand the test of time. I see a lot of consultants that jump in on kind of topic heavy. AI is a big thing right now. So they're going to come out, they're going to talk all about how great they are with AI. AI is going to dwindle in a year or two. And now they've invested all their energy in this one thing. And will it transfer? I don't know. You, you want to make sure that you've kind of got an evergreen feel and that you can move throughout time with your consulting expertise. Another thing I see kind of new consultants come out and do is they lean into their work that they've done. I was a superintendent, an assistant superintendent. Um, that was a long time ago now. So you have to keep your expertise up, your brand recognition up, your name up. You can't just lean on the work that you've done without doing new work, because time is going to pass and that's going to become history. And it's going to become something that's not relevant anymore. So now you have set up a company to be a consultant, but you can't really get any work because you're not relevant. So think about your relevancy and what you need to do to stay relevant. You need to write a book. Do you need to just get published in Forbes or Fast Company or Edweek or Chronicle or some other publication? Do you need to see if you can arrange to have um, a special publication come out about what you've done or your work? Do you need to affiliate with a university? Do you need to affiliate with a state? What do you need to do to keep your authenticity of your work relevant? That is probably one of the hardest jobs you have as a consultant. because your consulting business is dependent on your expertise. And again, you're selling, you're marketing, you're delivering, but you've also got to be developing your ongoing expertise and making sure that you're always relevant. That is the only way that you're going to be able to sell yourself or your time, is to be relevant. So that's kind of a slippery slope too, thinking through what that looks like. So those are my recommendations for you. If you build it, you will have work. If you put all of this effort into it and just the preparation, you will have work. I would give myself 6 months to a year in the planning phases before I launch. And when I launch, I always recommend launching soft while I'm still employed, just to test the waters, see what I can get. And then as you will see that kind of blossom and grow, then you'll see if a full launch is in your future. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at K20 Connect. That is what we do. We help consultants launch. And so feel free to reach out to us. You can find me on LinkedIn at Dr. Kecia Ray, or you can find me on our website at k20connect.net. And I'll be happy to help you. Thanks so much for listening. I hope it was helpful to you.